Hey guys, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me for the Zoom pre-match briefing. It's not something that I've traditionally done, but you know what? We do unusual things in unusual times. So this crew is fantastic. I cannot wait to work with you guys tomorrow night. It's just going to be an awesome couple of days. So first and foremost, Henry and Ken, do you guys have assigned corners for the match tomorrow night? That sounds like
We do.
no, you don't. Okay, so we're gonna have a match. So tomorrow night, let's say Ken, you'll be the L1, Henry, you'll be the L2, and so we'll go with that. And then the next night, Brian can do what he needs. So just a couple of things that are a little bit different with those two positions. Henry, I have never worked in the facility that we're going to be in tomorrow night. It's got that great big 360 scoreboard in the center of the court. I cannot see the opposite side of that scoreboard if a ball just kisses it. So as the L2, I need you to be my eyes on that. I'm sure Brian as R2 might be able to get his eyes up to help, but unless it careens off of that and really changes direction, I can't always tell. So as L2, extra thing I'd like to ask you to help me pay attention to on that. Also, in that position as L2, you're going to be closer to bench personnel. So if in a moment you feel like you're in the spit zone of the bench players, or the coaches get too close or anything like that, let Brian know, let me know, and we'll make sure that that they give you appropriate space over there. Ken, I don't think we'll have any trouble with fans being on the floor, but same thing. If there's anything that you need to let me know about, don't give me any crazy, hidden signals. Just let us know. We'll take care of it.
And I'm pretty alert, Henry. You can expect some eye contact from me when I'm down there and something strange has happened that might excite the bench. I do, and especially if it involves a decision related to one of your lines or intent or touch. I'll pay enough attention. I hope that I'll be able to pick it up before you are getting toasted.
Perfect. Thank you. So eye contact's really big for me. I'm going to scan every time. I'm going to, particularly since we're going to be wearing masks tomorrow night, eye contact is that much more important. I won't be able to disarm you with my smile, and so I'm probably going to wink at you. That's my other way of communicating. I'm not creeping on you. It's just, Brian, I'm going to wink at you too. It's just another way of knowing that that I'm with you. And so it's just part of who I am, part of how I rep. I don't want you to be surprised. I'll scan every time. If you have a signal for me, give it to me, hold it until I come to you. The exception to that is if the ball lands in the center of the floor and I have all the information I need. I'm not going to keep scanning to make sure everybody's showing me that the ball hit the center of the floor. If particularly there is a ball that goes out on your partner's lines, and I think there might have been a touch. If you're on the opposite side, so say the ball goes out on Henry's side, and I think there might have been a touch, as I do that follow scan around, I'll catch Brian, I'll come around to Ken. Ken, if you have that touch, hold it a little bit longer than you normally would in sort of a regular play. Give me a chance to come around. The only exception to that I just want to go ahead and call out is if there's a micro touch, and I think nobody else might have it, particularly if it was right in front of me or something like that, I'm just going to go big with my signals straight on. I think it looks worse if there's a micro touch and I go anybody, and then all of a sudden I do this. So in that situation, I'm just going to go by myself. If you've got it, make a signal. That's fantastic. It just continues to confirm. If you don't, it's all good. That's why we surround the court. I don't generally overrule, particularly with this crew, but if I see something different, I will do that. Stay with me. Masks are kind of nice for our poker face, but stay with me. It's just that I had a different angle, saw something else. A couple of more specific things. Please, on the serve, stay with the foot fault the whole time as the player's going through her routine. I will often beckon for serve and then take my eye away from the server while I check for setter positions or potential overlap on my service team. If there's a short routine, I don't always get back to the server by the time she contacts. So you're really literally my last eyes on that service foot fault. If you've got it, signal, hold it strong. If it's close, give me a, maybe a little head nod or something like that. That way I know that, and it helps communicate with the coaches and things like that. Pancakes and antenna faults, move as you need to. You're both great athletes and your positioning's fantastic. If you have to move for one of those calls, please stay true to a line if it's still in play, particularly on an antenna fault and a block. Pancakes, so sorry, on antenna faults, if you have an antenna fault signal and the ball, is continuing in play, hold it, sort of maybe give me an extra second or two if there's activity to come back around to see that. I know sometimes, there's a bang bang and I don't get a chance to come out and look if I don't see it in my peripheral vision. So if you need to hold it a little longer than you would. Pancakes, if you're 100% sure the ball is down, call it and be strong with it. If you're not 100% sure, let them play. I'd much rather us miss a ball that's down that we have to overturn than get involved too early. And so they're working so hard. Runner gets the tie. Let's let them keep playing. We have a couple of new techniques this year that are different, and we're sort of learning as we go how we're going to administer those. So if you have a player blocker contacting the antenna, there's not a prescribed technique for that. So what I'm experimenting with, and I did it in a couple of matches in the fall, and I'm going to try to continue it in the spring, is after that rally is over, if we overrule people sometimes, we'll do this, like, no, my call. Give me that, I have information for you. So you might signal in, but then go, I have information, I'll bring everybody in, we'll talk about it, and then we'll decide if that's the call or not, or something like that. Also, a player off of the playing surface. Again, it's kind of like that antenna fault. I might be blocked if it went behind that media table or something like that, and the action's going to still be going on. So give me that signal that they were out, but again, it might be one that we call a little bit later. And so sometimes it also might be one where I have additional information, she was off, and so we'll take a moment and sort of regroup after the rally's over and make sure we get it right. And then lastly, we have the new in-touch signal. And I think this is a really important signal because we can hopefully prevent sort of challenges being used when they don't have to be used. If the ball is close to a line and you feel like it's needed, go ahead and give it to me every time. I'd much rather us over signal that than under signal that. And also it is hard, I know, I've been there, to do double signals. It's new, it's a technique that's different. So it's okay if it's a two-step signal, if you go in and then touch, and in fact, sometimes I think that looks more confident than a, what do I do, kind of thing. So in, oh yeah, and there was a touch. And so I think that can really sell, and it'll help you get the muscle memory that you need to be able to make that. Brian, anything I missed in that pre-match you want to talk about?
No, I think that was good. I really think you had everything covered. I try to make eye contact with the line judges as much as I can as well. It doesn't. Suzanne's going to be our go-to person, but if you've got something, and especially Ken for you, because I know as an R1, the LJ1 is sometimes the easiest position to neglect, not intentionally, just because you're not in our line of sight as an R1, but as an R2, you are in my line of sight as I look across the court. So, if you've got something and Suzanne doesn't grab it right away, I'll be looking at you. So you can shift your gaze to me to make sure one of us has seen you, because you're kind of out of that line of sight over there. But I think that might be the only thing I might add there.
Great. Ken, Henry, any questions you have for me or Brian? Yes, sir.
Okay, Suzanne, I did have one question. One thing that I found helpful, because, eye contact with the masks and so forth sometimes can be troublesome and so forth, to head nods and so I like, a lot of R1s like to have that eye contact, particularly at the start of the set and particularly after a timeout. So I've been giving my R1s a little thumbs up here or off to the side, maybe out of the way, just so that you're fully aware that I'm ready. And a lot of the R1s I've worked with masks thus far have appreciated that. So if you see that from me, that's hopefully okay with you.
Love it. That's great. Yep.
And then also something with Brian. I know, I think, Suzanne, you probably confirmed with host management that we aren't going to be using our normal volleyball protocols I think we'll probably have about a dozen balls, ready to go and so forth. So line judges and referees, we don't touch volleyballs. And I imagine that'll be the protocol for tomorrow night. So my understanding, Brian, is that when Henry and I will take our preset positions about 10 feet off the court there along the sideline extended. And since you don't throw out the ball as the R2, that's our indication to take our positions when you do that. Since that will not happen, my understanding from Dan Swenson and PAVO is that the modified protocol is that when you turn after checking lineups at the start of a set, when you turn towards the table, and again, Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, when you turn back towards the table to deliver the lineup sheets back to the table, that's the signal for us to take our positions. Is that understood?
Yeah, absolutely. And generally, I even say if I start on your side and do the lineup check, when I leave your side, and I know you like to work in sync as much as you can when that's appropriate in terms of general practices. But yeah, when I'm done and have returned those lineup sheets, absolutely you should, by the time I give ready, you guys should already be in that position. And just so you know, in that regard, because I don't want to micromanage in the situation with the ball getting to the server. When I check the lineups, if you're near the ball retriever who's distributing the ball, you can remind her or him to hang on 1 second. But if they get it to the server beforehand, that's just not going to cause anybody any heartburn. I can tell if they have a ball, the server, and they're behind the end line. I know they're in position, which position they're in on the lineup sheet. So we don't have to, kind of cause anybody any problems there. I think we'll be just fine.
Very good. Thank you.
Now, in the new rules, we talked about the look from the R1. Now you're asking us to do hey, I have something different, or I have some information from you, and I think that's great. So we won't be looking for the look from you in those situations, or do you want us to wait for the look and then do this?
Henry, great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So yes, this year's going to be a little bit challenging with giving the look because sometimes it's hard to be that expressive with a mask on. So yes, I think there will be those situations where my spidey sense goes off and I give you the look, Henry, did you have this? Ken, did you have this? But if I don't give you the look, also please be ready with I have additional information. I think that's going to be really important because again, mask, it's going to be hard to sort of communicate with facial expressions, but also sometimes my eyes might have been in a different place and you might have information that I don't know to come look for. So if you have something, please show me this, even if maybe I don't give you the look as fast as sort of normally or I should in my scan mechanics. Also, another thing, talking about sort of that nonverbal communication, I forgot to mention this earlier. When I do my scan off of a potential ball going out on your partner's lines, as I do that scan, if you have a touch, obviously give me the touch signal. But if you don't have a touch, give me a little head shake so that I know you're communicating an opinion with me. That's going to be really important because, we make calls, but a lot of times our no call is a very clear expression of judgment. In fact, every time it is. So make sure you give that. But great question, Henry. Thanks. Anything else?
I was going to mention, Suzanne, and I think we're on the same page with this as you just kind of clarified with Henry's question. Another thing that I believe that we, because we want to get things correct, obviously, not even related to CRS, just in general, but because we've, number one, have a number of new techniques, and number two, our communication is inhibited, is that the right word? This year with masks and handheld whistles and all kinds of different things. Ultimately, if all of this pre-match discussion and communication technique and styles, and preferences, if all that goes out the window, I think we can probably come over to the stand and have a powwow. And I don't know that that'll be a common thing by any stretch, but I don't think we can ever say we shouldn't do that. And in this case, it's probably more important than ever before that we have that kind of communication, if it's necessary to be clear about the communication. Is that fair, Suzanne, too? You're good with that?
Perfect. Yep. Anything else, folks? Nope. Well, if I remember, we agreed on blue uniform tops, and I'll see you hour prior to match time. Looking forward to it. Travel safe.
Thank you.
Thanks. See y'all.
See you.
Sorry, my dog. This might be an edit.
Edit,
Right.
edit. Dang, we were doing so good. We got to start all the way over now.
Let me put the dog away here.
So I guess we can now answer. Ken is the one
I'm
who
gonna-
let the dog out.
That's funny.